Good morning and welcome to Wednesday morning yoga. Every Wednesday we have gentle flow, so today is no exception. And this week we are focusing on becoming rooted with the earth, connected to the earth. We are in early fall, so we also are honoring that season and the changes that are around the corner that are coming with that season. So although it feels very warm, I mean, it's summertime warm. Last night it was still 80 degrees when I drove up the mountain at 9 o'clock at night, almost 10. But we know that the change is soon coming. It's supposed to cool down actually even this week. But on Monday, I introduced all of you to the Kanishtha Mudra. So it's when you take 2 fists and you put your fingers together like this, kind of low near the solar plexus. And this is a mudra that you can take any time of the day, any day of the week, and you can even do it 2 or 3 times a day. And this is a grounding mudra, and this is a mudra that can help us to lower our blood pressure, calm our digestive system, and make us feel connected to the earth. Very powerful. And so this morning I am experimenting with music. We will see how it sounds when it's on the other side. I have one day that music came through perfectly, and I'm hoping that this is going to be one of those days as well. So go ahead and find your easy seated pose. I am sitting on a bolster, and I have brought a couple of blocks today. So I recommend that you have blocks this morning. Go ahead and stack your shoulders over your hips, draw your head back in alignment with your shoulder. Go ahead and inhale your shoulders up to your ears, exhale them back and down. And just take a moment to get into your breath. Maybe while you're sitting on your pillow, preferably on your pillow, it's nice to start the day off giving your hips space to open. And if you sit on top of a pillow, your knees drop to the mat or lower than your hips anyway to make this a more comfortable pose. And while you're sitting there, draw your attention downward. Draw your attention down to the earth. Do long inhales and exhales out of the nose. And focus on expanding and contracting your belly. As you breathe, I invite you to consider your head placement and your shoulder placement. Are you able to draw your crown up to the ceiling as you allow your shoulders to fall down to the floor? As you sit here in this moment of brief stillness and contemplation before we head into our flow, do you allow your form to sit tall with softened edges in a relaxed state without collapsing? Can you draw a very long breath in and exhale a very long breath out? Can you tell yourself when you're at the bottom of your breath that you're fine, that you're grounded, that you're secure. Go ahead and take the Surya Mudra, which is your index finger against your thumb. Open up your arms, draw your chin up so that it's parallel with the floor. This is the position that we can take before we head into sun salutations, and we will be doing some sun salutations this morning. One more inhale. And then fully exhale. Go ahead and open your eyes if you've allowed them to close. And I'm going to go ahead and rise up off of my pillow and move my pillow off to the side. Let's go ahead and start off with a little bit of gentle spine release. So take your tabletop pose and go ahead and inhale your heart center up and your sits bones up as you allow your belly to drop, drawing your heart center forward, drawing your shoulders back and down. On your exhale, take that cat pose, draw your belly button up to the spine, drop your shoulders, drop your crown, allow your tailbone to descend to the floor. Reverse that order, draw your shoulders back and down as you drop your belly, draw your heart center through as you lift up your sits bones. And then reverse that order, drawing your back up to the top of the ceiling, dropping your tailbone, rounding your shoulders, dropping your crown. Inhale, drop your belly, lift up your sits bones, draw your shoulder blades back and down, drawing your heart center through. And then let's do a final cat. Drawing your belly button up to the spine, drawing your spine up to the ceiling. Inhale to neutral. Let's take your blocks and move them to either side of your body so that they are available when you need them. All right, go ahead and come up to the front of your mat and just stand at the top of your mat, taking your nice, strong Tadasana. Notice in my Tadasana, my shoulders are stacked over my hips. My belly button is slightly drawn in. Roll your shoulders up to your ears and back down. Inhale your hands up to the sky. Exhale your hands out and down. Inhale your hands up to the sky. Exhale them out and down. And then inhale your hands out and up. And then exhale your hands out and down. And then hinge at the hips, bend your knees, and swan dive forward into your first forward fold of the day. Just lay your body over your legs, bend your legs deeply, allow your hands to touch the floor. Maybe your fingers are just touching the floor and you've tented your hands like spider web. Inhale into a flat spine by placing your hands against your shin and drawing your heart center forward, drawing your shoulders away from your ears. Exhale, bend your legs again and fold forward. Inhale into a flat spine. And then exhale, descend. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up to the top. And then exhale, hands to prayer. Now we are ready to start our sun salutations. They're going to be a little bit different today because we aren't taking downward dog. We're going to take puppy dog as our downward dog. Inhale your heart center up. Exhale your hands down. Inhale your hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Hands to the floor. drop the crown. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale, grab your blocks and take your right foot back in space as we take a lunge, dropping your right knee. Bring your blocks back behind your foot. Lift up your heart center. Maybe this first lunge of the day, this hip isn't opening and that is okay. Exhale. Place your blocks out to the side. Place your hands on the floor. Take your left knee back to join your right and move your hands forward into puppy dog pose. Keep your hips high up in the air as you reach your hands out in front of you, allowing your face and your heart center to draw towards the mat. Inhale, rise. Take your blocks again. Take your right foot forward. Make it as wide of a lunge as you can. You may not sink your hips a lot yet, but we are opening up the hips. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, tuck your toes and bring your foot in to join your right foot. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale. Exhale your hands down. Inhale your hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Grab your blocks. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down. Take your left foot back and drop your knee. Move your hips back behind your right heel and rise up your heart center as you take your lunge. Inhale and then exhale. Move your blocks out of the way. Take your right knee back to join your left and then move into your puppy dog pose. Drawing your heart center, drawing your face towards the floor as you leave your hips high in the air. Inhale. Exhale fully. Inhale, rise up. Take your block. Bring your left foot forward into a lunge that opens up the right hip, leaving your right knee on the ground. Inhale. Exhale, lifting up your heart center. Inhale, bring your right foot in to join your left. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down. Inhale, rise all the way up. And then exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale. Exhale our hands down. Inhale our hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down. Take your block. I need to get better at where I place my block. Take my right foot back, dropping the knee into that lunge again. Draw your blocks back behind your heel. Lift up your heart center. And then exhale. Place your blocks down. Take your left knee back to join your right. Keep your hips high as you walk your hands forward into puppy dog. Reaching forward, stretching out the front of your shoulders. Maybe your forehead touches the floor. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, rise up. Take your blocks. Take your right foot forward into that low lunge. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, tuck your toes and bring your left foot in to join your right. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down. Inhale, rise all the way up. And then exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale. Exhale your hands down. Inhale your hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Grab your block. Take your left foot back to the back of the mat. Drop your left knee. Draw your blocks back behind your right heel. and lift up your heart center. Exhale, place your hands on the floor, bring your right knee back to join your left. Reach your hands forward in puppy dog pose. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, rise up. Take your left foot forward, creating an opening of the right hip. Inhale. Exhale, lift your heart center up to the ceiling. Inhale, tuck your right toes. Bring your right foot to join your left. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down. Inhale, rise all the way up. And then exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale. Exhale your hands down. Inhale your hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Taking your blocks. Bring your right foot back. And then drop your knee. Bring your blocks behind your left foot. Inhale your heart center up as you draw your shoulders down. Exhale, take your left foot back to join your right. Reach your hands forward, keeping your hips up high in puppy dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, rise up. Take your right foot forward. Nice stretch along the outside or the front of your left hip. Drawing your shoulders back and down as you lift your heart center up to the sky. Inhale. Exhale. Tuck your left toes and bring your left foot to join your right. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down. Inhale, rise all the way up. And then exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale. Exhale your hands down. Inhale your hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Take your left foot back. Drop your left knee. Bring your blocks back behind your right heel as you drop your shoulders and lift your heart center. Exhale, take your right knee back to join your left. Keep your hips high as you walk forward into puppy dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, rise up. Take your left foot forward. Inhale, rising up your heart center as you drop your shoulders down, allowing your hips to sink. Inhale. Exhale. And then go ahead and tuck your right toes. Bring your right foot to join your left. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhaling down. Inhale, rise all the way up. And then exhale, bring your hands to prayer. And return to the front of the mat so you can see the next sequence of poses that we're going to do. So, in honor of autumn, in honor of a youthful moon phase, we just had a full moon. We have full harvest moon, as a matter of fact, last weekend. And I'm a little late in coming to it, but we're going to go ahead and take goddess pose in honor of that. So I invite you to go ahead and spread your legs. Have your toes pointing out. We are on the long side of the mat. I'm on my round mat here, but go ahead and have your toes pointed out. And then rotate your hips outward and then draw your knees out to the sides as you allow your body to fall in between your legs or to draw down towards the earth. I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see the alignment of the body. Okay? So when you're, let's see, this is a good one. Here we go. So notice how straight my back is. You don't want to lean forward in this pose, and you don't want your booty out behind. You want to tuck your tailbone, draw your shoulders back. And in Goddess, normally we have our arms up. So I'm going to invite you, just so that you can focus on alignment, to actually have your hands all the way back, sitting on top of your thighs, drawing your elbows back, drawing your shoulders back, and just be here for about 2 breaths. Inhale, exhale. One more inhale, exhale, rise up. That might be a lot for your legs first thing in the morning. Go ahead and turn your toes forward, still in this wide-legged stance. And I invite you to take your blocks again, place them in front of you, and just take a nice, long, flat spine in this wide-legged forward fold. We call this propererties, Padottanasana, or Uttanasana. But right now we're in a half fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Drawing the crown of your head forward, leaning on your blocks, which are squarely underneath your shoulders, and move your weight more towards the front of your feet. And then I invite you to take your blocks and drop them down now. We're going to incrementally make our way into a greater forward fold. So keeping your hands on your blocks, start to draw your heart center down, draw your face down in between those blocks. You can even move the blocks back a little bit. And what you're aiming for is for your sits bones to be heading towards the sky. But right now, focus on drawing your heart down and drawing your sits bones up. Don't worry about what you think they look like. Just worry about what it feels. Going for that experience of a flat spine. Drawing your sits bones back as you draw your shoulder blades onto your back and gently fold your body forward. Everything slow, everything gentle. No tension in the back. You should feel this only on the back of your legs. So if you feel any involvement of your lower spine, please lift up out of it and draw your shoulders back together before you attempt to forward fold again. That will take any pressure out of your lower back. And if you move your energy towards the front of your toes, this kind of encourages those sits bones to trail up to the ceiling. Inhale, rise up. And then on your exhale, let's bring your feet together so that they are about the width of your outer hip. And then I'm going to encourage you to drop down. But if you have difficulty with tight Achilles tendons, I'm going to encourage you to get a blanket, fold it however thick you would like it. This is my fun Mexican blanket from Rivera Street that I got when I was with Elizabeth. I'm going to stand on this blanket with my heels only on the blanket. And then I'm going to use my blocks for support as I go down into that yogi squat, or what they call malasana. Now that I am down here, I can choose what I want to do. I have a deep squat, so each person is different. But it does help if you have difficulty with tightness on the back of the Achilles tendon to lift up your legs. If you have one of those nice black foam mats that I gave to you, you can also try putting your heels on top of the edge of that mat. You can also take a block if you want that support, and you can place that block underneath. And if you just want to sit here and enjoy this malasana by just sitting on the block with your feet, with your knees apart, using your elbows to kind of gently encourage the opening of your hips, that's totally fine. Draw the crown of your head towards the ceiling as you draw your shoulders down in This prayer mudra. And maybe if you're feeling it, go ahead and close your eyes and focus on a nice long energy channel from your tailbone all the way to the crown of your head. Let's just stay here for a couple of more breaths. Continue to draw your shoulders together on your spine as you allow your tailbone to gently descend down to the floor. One more inhale. Fully exhale that out. And I'm going to go ahead and move my blanket, and we're going to do something we call Skandasana. So we're going to use the blocks for support to do that. So go ahead and drop down kind of in that Malasana pose. So go ahead and take your heels off the floor and be on your toes. Take your right leg out to the side. I don't think it's going to work to use the blocks, but if it helps you to use the blocks, you can just place them on their short side just so that you have some height from them. And in Skandasana, basically what we're doing is we're going back and forth. I'm going to move myself more towards the center of the mat so that I'm more centered in the camera. Okay, so right now, my right leg is out to the side. My toes are pointed towards the ceiling. My heel is on the floor. I've turned my leg out so that my kneecap is facing the ceiling. And on the left side, I'm up on my toes in a deep lunge. So inhale, and then exhale, turn your right toes forward. You can leave and then lift up on your toes as you go to the right, and then lift up your right toes. And you'll feel a nice stretch all on the back of your hamstring. And then just go ahead and go back and forth at your own pace. This is often done without the support of the floor or the support of blocks. But this is gentle yoga, so we're using whatever props we want. Going to the right, pivoting the right toes forward as we pivot our left toes towards the ceiling. Going to the left, lifting up on our left toes as we turn our right toes towards the ceiling. And just go back a couple more times. This is probably really waking up your inner thighs, really waking up the back of your legs. It can be pretty intense, especially first thing in the morning. Let's go one more time to the left. And then arrive at neutral. And then let's go back to Malasana again. If you want to grab your blanket so that you have something for your heels, feel free. And take note of now how your hips might feel. We've done a little bit of hip opening work this morning. Your hips might feel good. They might feel like they're gently greeting the day. One more inhale. And then exhale, go ahead and place your hands down. Have your blocks nearby for support. I'm going to move my blanket out of the way. We're going to take deer pose now. So in deer pose, this one's a little bit difficult to explain, but it's a wonderful pose. So take your shin, your left shin, to the front of your mat, so to the short side of the mat. You can be back in the middle of the mat, okay? And then your right leg can be parallel with the front of your mat, or if you want to further open up, you can draw your right knee back a little bit. So right now, as I'm sitting up in this pose, I don't know if you can tell, but my right hip bone isn't touching the ground. So I'm lifted up, my heart is lifted up, I'm using my left hand for support. If you want, you can use your blocks to even further give you some leverage so that you don't have to tent your hands, but can place your hand flat on the block. But I've got my right hand on my right knee, and I'm lifting up my heart center to the ceiling. Nice, long, straight spine. And this is gently opening up the inside of this right thigh. And you'll feel it on the crease of the groin. And you might even feel it moving backwards towards the back of the leg. That's okay. And then you're going to inhale up. And on your exhale, I want you to shift your weight back so that you can encourage that right hip bone to sit on the floor. And when you do that, it's going to bring up your left leg. That's okay. You have both hip bones now on the floor. And maybe you're kind of facing your mat a little bit at a diagonal to the right. That's okay. That's your exhale. And then on your inhale, lift up your right hip bone, lift up your heart center, lift up your crown. And then on the exhale, draw your right hip bone back as you allow your left knee to rise up. Go ahead and move forward, lifting up your right hip bone, lifting up the crown. And then on your exhale, go ahead and draw your right hip bone down as you allow your left knee to come up. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, drawing your right hip bone up, right sit bone up as you draw up your heart center, draw up the crown of your head. And then on your exhale, draw that sit bone down as you allow your left knee to come up. Very gently, let's change sides. So now my right shin is parallel to the front of my mat, and my left thigh is parallel. This is acceptable, or if you want to further open up, you can draw your left knee back a little bit further. And you'll find with this pose that if you're warmed up, your hips might allow you greater space here. And it, you know, everything changes how our body is behaving. First thing in the morning, I am stiff as a board, and I'm honoring that and still integrating some gentle movement. So right now what I'm doing is I'm drawing the crown of my head up, drawing my heart center up, drawing all of my energy up as I stay rooted on my right hip. And then on the exhale, I'm going to draw my left sit bone down, which brings up that right knee as we talked about. And then on the inhale, I'm going to rise up that sit bone, keeping my right hip grounded, allowing my right knee to drop as I lift up my heart center, lift up the crown of my head. And on the exhale, drawing that hip bone back, drawing that sit bone back to the floor, allowing my right knee to rise up. And then on the inhale, moving that hip forward, drawing that sit bone off of the floor, lifting up my heart center, lifting up the crown of my head. And then on the exhale, drawing it back down, moving that energy backwards. And then on the inhale, lift the sit bone off the floor, draw my heart center up, draw the crown of my head up. And then on the exhale, draw it all back. Ah. Okay. Let's go ahead and rise up again. You can use your blocks to support you. Let's move to the front of the mat. You know, as you know, I've told you that I have fallen in love with gate pose. And I'm going to turn in a way that you can see me better in the camera. So I want you to face the long side of your mat. You're standing on your knees. Draw your shoulders back, draw your tailbone down. Make this a nice, strong, standing pose on your knees. Then take your right leg out to the side and stand up nice and tall on that left knee. But just initially get used to that experience of your right foot out to the side. Your foot is planted on the floor. And then take your hands to warrior two arms. On the inhale, drop to the left with your left hand on the floor, raising your right hand to the sky. And then on the exhale, rise up into warrior two arms. Place your right hand on your right leg. Draw your left hand up to the ceiling. And then inhale the other way. Exhale up, placing your right hand on your leg, drawing your left hand up to the ceiling. Now, if you find, keep going at your own pace, if you find that it's difficult to be having your knees on the mat this time of the day, you know, we just don't have the fluid in our joints when we first wake up that we have at the end of the day. You can always put a cushion underneath your knees. These little garden cushions are good. You can also put a blanket, or if you want me to send you one of those fun foam pads that I have, let me know and I can pop one over to you. Let's do one last gate pose. Inhale, rise up, placing your right hand on your right leg, lifting your left hand up to the ceiling. And then exhale, bring your hands to your hips. Draw your right knee in to join your left. Stand nice and tall there on your knees. Take your left foot out to the side. And again, just get used to that experience of your leg being out to the side, lifting up out of the hips, allowing your tailbone to drop to the floor as you rise your heart center up. Inhale, bring your hands up to warrior two arms and drop to the right. Right hand on the floor, left hand to the ceiling. And then on the exhale, rise up into warrior two arms and move into gate. Left hand on your left leg as you draw your right hand to the ceiling. Inhale, right hand to the floor. Left hand to the ceiling. And then rise up into warrior two arms. Left hand on the left leg, right arm to the ceiling. Go ahead and go back and forth at your own pace. And then let's finish up with one final gate pose. Exhale. Take your hands to your hips, drawing your knees together. Go ahead and just sit nice and tall, stand nice and tall here on your knees. And then let's take a final pose for the morning before we settle into our Shavasana. It's a little bit of a short thing today because I have a conference in 40 minutes. So go ahead and stand up on your knees. You can have your knees apart. We're going to go ahead. You can leave your blocks there actually because I'm going to encourage you to do camel without blocks today. Take your right hands like paddles and place them on your back, fingers pointed down and pressing against the heels against your lower back, right where your sacroiliac joints are. Draw your elbows together as you draw your shoulders back, and then start to lift up your heart center. Just concentrate on lifting up and out of your hips. No bend yet in the spine. No bend of any kind. Just keep on lifting, lifting, lifting out. And then when you can't lift anymore, go ahead and curl your upper back so that your heart center is facing the sky, drawing your elbows together, drawing your shoulder blades together. One more inhale. And then on your exhale, draw your chin to your chest, draw your belly button in. As you rise up, sit back down. And then go ahead and lay down in child's pose. And in this child's pose, you're just laying over your legs, dropping your forehead to the floor, relaxing and reminding yourselves there's nothing more grounding than child's pose. Go ahead and rise up. Use your hands to help you up. And I'm going to invite you to do something different today. You could take your feet and you can place them on top of a chair if you want, or you can even take legs up against the wall. So I'm going to show you the legs up against the wall version. And if having your legs up against the wall is too much, that's okay. You can go ahead and grab a chair and place your feet on top of the chair. So what you do is you lay down and draw your hip bones or your sit bones to the front, to the wall as close as you can get them. Now you don't have to have your legs straight if you don't want. I have mine straight. I find that more comfortable. And you can even choose if you want to lift up your hips. You can place like a block or a blanket underneath your hips if you find that comfortable. So right now I have a very short block underneath my sacrum, right across my lower spine, right where my sacroiliac joints are. That's one way to do it. I'm actually going to release that because that's not as comfortable for me. But sometimes lifting up your hips is very comfortable. And then I just want you to lay here, find your comfortable position with your feet lifted up. Sometimes it's really good for us to reverse the blood flow. When we reverse the blood flow, it helps improve our circulation actually. And it helps improve our heart rate and our blood pressure. And just imagine all of your energy is drawing down to the floor. Place your hands wherever you want. You can have them on the floor beside you. I'm finding it very comfortable to just bend my elbows and place my hands right against my thighs. If you want to, you can also take the Kanishtha Mudra, where you take your two pinkies and place them together and you leave the rest of your hand in a fist. And you can just rest that on your belly if you want. And while you're laying here, I just want to encourage you to breathe gently in and out. Place no stress on your breath. Just use this breath to guide you into a state of relaxation. Draw your attention to the top of your head. And allow any tension that you're experiencing to melt down. Draw your attention to your face and your neck. And imagine any tension that you have just melting away down towards the mat. And now draw your attention towards your chest and your shoulders. Allow your shoulders to sink back deeply in the mat. Draw your attention to your middle section and to your upper and lower ribs. Allow them to sort of just fall down into the mat. Drawing your attention to your hips, allowing the mat to slowly support them. Allow your belly to soften. And then draw your attention to your legs, kind of as one unit, from your feet all the way down to your hips. Tell your legs to release any tension, any energy. And just lay here in this feet up the wall pose, our final resting pose. Lay here for just a few minutes and I will bring you back in with my voice. Now I'm going to invite you to come back to the present moment. Go ahead and gently flutter your eyes open.
Your knees down. My headphones just went out. It just died on me, so I'm going to talk really loud. So go ahead and join me in however you arrive in seated position. Go ahead and get comfortable. And then inhale your hands up to the sky. Exhale your hands down. Inhale your hands up. And then exhale them down. Inhale them up one more time. Exhale, hands to prayer. Bow your head. You've made it to the middle day of the week. Tomorrow night we have Hatha Vinyasa Flow if you would like to join me again here in my studio. The yogi in me honors the yogi in you. The light in me joins with the light in you. I hope that as you go through your day today, that you feel a wonderful sense of being grounded. Namaste.